It has been 1 month since Ilia El Matador Topuria slimed out Charles Oliveira and conquered the lightweight division, becoming a two-division champion. Okay, this guy has done so much within the last year, conquering both divisions, becoming the featherweight champion, knocking out Alexander Volkanovski, defending his belt to knock out Max Blessed Holloway, then moves up, fights for the vacant belt, and I already said he slimed out Charles Oliveira. And right now, this man is undefeated, 17 wins and no losses. And right now, it looks like Ilia Topuria is just unbeatable. Like there's no one that can beat this guy. But that is simply not true. I do believe there are some fighters out there in the UFC who are capable of beating Ilia Topuria. Now, can and will are two different things. I will have some fighters on this list, but that doesn't mean I think they'll beat Ilia or I'm favoring them to win. I'm just saying they have a chance and they're not to be slept on. And I'm going to list them in fives. Five being like the least likely, slimmest chance out of the five. Whereas four will be somewhere in the middle of slim chances, but not as hopeless as five. Like you're close to, you have a good chance, but just not quite. And then third place, that will be reaching you have a really good chance territory. And then of course second place, you're pretty much in. Like you can definitely beat this guy. And then number one, that is like, not only do you have more than a chance to beat Ilia, you might actually do it. You might actually beat this guy being number one on the list. So I'm going to start with number five. Y'all might call me crazy for this, but Alexander the Great Volkanovski, I do think has a good chance to beat Ilia Topuria in a rematch. Okay, a lot went into that first fight that I do kind of believe, I don't want to say altered the outcome in a sense, because I do think Ilia was inevitable. It was destined that he was going to dethrone Volk and become the featherweight champion. It was meant to go this way, but Volkanovski did not take time off to recover from that Islam Makhachev knockout loss. Okay, he jumped from getting KO'd by Islam on short notice, then quick turnaround against a monster like Ilia, wasn't recovered. Now that Volkanovski is back, he is the champion again, okay? His confidence is back, he's taken the time off, he's recovered. And in that last fight against Diego Lopez, he showed that he may not fully be in his prime anymore, but he's not all that washed either. He's still very skilled, still very capable, and Volkanovski is one of the most tactical, most technically sound fighters in UFC history. I believe he's a more technical striker than Topuria. I believe all around his striking is better. Like Topuria's got better hands, better in the pocket, but Volkanovski better at a range, better with kicks, more elusive, very good at evading and cutting angles. And in that last fight they had, Volkanovski was doing very well. I thought he won the first round, and he was clearly winning the second round, piecing Topuria up. But the one thing that hurt him is he got backed all the way up against the cage. And from there, he was cooked and got finished, got slumped by Topuria. But if he can make that adjustment to keep his back off the cage, but then also not get too close, not get too in the pocket with Topuria, but not let him back him up or crowd him. And if he can survive as well, because I don't think he'll finish Topuria. But if he can manage to come out clean in this fight, not take damage, not get dropped, not get rocked, if it's that kind of fight where Volk's not taking damage and not getting hurt, I think Volkanovski can outstrike Ilia Topuria to a decision. Volk with more prep time has a chance, and also Volkanovski up a weight class in the lightweight division is much better than he is at featherweight, and we've seen proof of this when he fought Islam Makhachev. The Volk that we saw against Islam the first time, that was Volk in one of his best forms, and that version of Volk, I believe, could give Ilia a good fight. And should he move back up to the lightweight division and fights Ilia and is on a full camp and isn't coming off a 3-month turnaround from being knocked out, I do think he has a very good shot at beating Ilia. It's not a given. He's at the back of the line. I think his chances are super slim. I would pick Topuria to beat him again, and I think he'd likely knock him out again. But you can never count out someone as smart, as adaptable, as Alexander the Great Volkanovski. Okay, now number 4, Max Blessed Holloway. I was waiting for the outcome of Holloway versus Poirier 3 before jumping on this video because I needed to see how Holloway would look coming back from that Topuria knockout loss, how he would look in his second lightweight fight, and how he would do against the guy who's already 2-0 against him. And Max Holloway looked better than he's ever looked, better than that last fight against Ilia where he did very well until he got chinned in the 3rd round. And he looked more dominant against Gaethje, but something about Holloway in this Dustin fight looked better than UFC 300 Max, if that makes sense. And lightweight Max is a different animal from featherweight Max, okay? He's more hydrated, so knocking him out won't be as easy as it was in the featherweight division. And Max Holloway, he's not going to be like Charles Oliveira where he's going to walk in the line of fire and just throw down with Ilia. That's why Oliveira got chinned like that. Because Oliveira, he literally asked to get slept by engaging in a firefight. Max Holloway, he can play that technical, that elusive game. He can play the Matador game, stick and move, cut angles, and he's a good counter puncher. He's shown this. And that last fight against Topuria, I felt like he was starting to build up until Ilia Topuria put him away. Like, if Max Holloway could have not got caught in round 3, there is a good chance Holloway could have turned things around. He was losing the first 2 rounds, but if he could have avoided that straight right cross of Topuria, which, look, that's Max's fault. He got caught switching stances in punching range. Shame on him. But Holloway is the type of guy to learn from his mistakes, to adapt and to adjust and to do even better. He's got more volume than Ilia Topuria. I think his cardio is better than Topuria. Now, Topuria's cardio isn't horrible, but Holloway has the cardio edge. And I do think Holloway has a very good chance of outpointing Ilia Topuria. Like, if he can survive, it's kind of the same thing as Volkanovski. If he can avoid getting chinned, which is easier said than done, I think he has a very good chance of winning this fight by decision against Ilia Topuria. And plus, Max Holloway, I think his striking is more diverse than Ilia. Ilia, his striking is mainly just his boxing and then his calf kicks. Holloway has the body kicks, spin kicks to the body, high kicks. He has all kinds of kicks. He'll go for flying knees, knees up the middle when you close the distance on him. Max Holloway all around is a very dangerous striker. And I do think no matter how many times these guys fight, it's never going to be an easy fight for Topuria. Okay, I think this fight is always going to be a competitive fight. And I think Topuria would win 6 times out of 10. I think Holloway would win like 4 times. With maybe 3 outcomes, Ilia finishes him. And then I'm going to say the 3 other outcomes, Ilia beats him by decision. And then the 4 times Holloway wins, I think Holloway beats him on points. I don't see Holloway finishing Topuria. And number 3, Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. Now, this guy has a sleeper chance against Ilia Topuria. He is a very underrated fighter. He's a guy that fans love to hate, but the guy can fight. He is legit, and he's getting better. Like, Paddy Pimblett was known to be a jiu-jitsu guy with a good chin, very tough, but mainly dangerous if he could get a hold of you and could get you down. But Paddy Pimblett, in his last couple of fights against Chandler, against Bobby Green, he's shown massive improvements in his striking. He's becoming more elusive. His distance management is improving. His defense is improving. Okay? And he's becoming a lot more technical. He's becoming a lot less sloppy than he used to be. And there's a very good chance that he could frustrate Ilia Topuria on the feet. That he could just keep that distance, keep Ilia at the end of his reach. He's got a longer reach than Holloway. Longer arm reach, I believe. Longer leg reach. Pimblett's got good kicks. Like Holloway, like Volk, he's got a more versatile striking style. He can go high with his kicks, and we know Ilia Topuria has shown a bit of a weakness in high kicks. Ilia Topuria has a bit of a low stance. He does kind of dip his head. Paddy has dangerous knees up the middle that he can throw, that he could catch Topuria with. And if he could get this fight to the ground, which wouldn't be easy, I know Topuria is also good on the ground, but I do think Pimblett is better than him with his jiu-jitsu, with his submission game. He has somewhat of a Charles Oliveira level threat to Ilia on the ground. And if, let's say, he can frustrate Topuria on the feet, make him swing big, miss hard, and kind of fade the more he misses, maybe invest in the body a little bit, and just chip away at Topuria. If he can just get Topuria tired, there's a chance he can get him down. He can outlast Ilia Topuria, make Ilia chase him, but not be able to finish him, wear on him just through that method, then get him down, and could potentially find a submission on the ground. You cannot sleep on Paddy the Baddy, but his ground and pound is also very dangerous. Paddy continues to evolve, and I do feel like he has more ways he could win this fight against Ilia, whether it be on points, whether it be by TKO, whether it be catching Ilia with a surprise strike on the feet, or ground and pound TKO, or a submission where Ilia has, well, he could win on points too, but Ilia is he's not a decision guy, he's a finisher. So Ilia's main path to victory is cut off the octagon, get this fight in the pocket, and put one on Paddy's chin. But if he can't do that, he could be in for a long and rough night. I would pick Ilia Topuria to win, but Paddy Pimblett could definitely do it. And he's got a way better chance than Volk, way better chance than Max Holloway, in my opinion. Sorry. Now, number 2, Arman Tsarukyan. Now, I think Arman Tsarukyan is the biggest threat to Ilia Topuria on the lightweight roster right now. The only current lightweight active right now that I actually could straight up see beating Ilia. Now, Islam Makhachev is still ranked, but we don't know if he's coming back. And if he beats Jack, he might not have a reason to move back down. Ilia might chase him up a division if Ilia stays the lightweight champion. But outside of Makhachev, with him being kind of gone now, why I think Arman Tsarukyan is a big threat to Ilia? Because he's a way better wrestler than Topuria. And he's the only guy in this division right now that I could see just straight up taking Topuria down and keeping him there. I think he has a physicality advantage over Ilia. He's bigger, stronger, very good top control, crushing ground and pound. And I mean, Ilia Topuria does not want to be beneath this guy. He does not want to be fighting from off his back against Arman Tsarukyan, because Arman doesn't just lay and pray. He doesn't just stall on the ground. He looks to inflict damage and hurt you. But then even on the feet, Arman Tsarukyan is not incompetent. Arman Tsarukyan can strike as well. He's very technical, but he's very patient, has some power of his own, good feints. He's got good kicks as well, good kicks, good switch kicks to the body, which I believe could disrupt the boxing rhythm of Ilia Topuria. I think he could be competitive just enough on the feet before he could impose his grappling. I think the striking is competitive. The longer they stay standing, Ilia Topuria will take over and be in full control and will knock him out. But grappling, wrestling, that's all Arman Tsarukyan. And I could see Arman Tsarukyan just grinding Ilia Topuria to death, wearing him down. And he could potentially win by either a dominant decision or a ground and pound TKO. And he might be the guy in the lightweight division that does it. The only problem for Arman is he's being denied of a title shot for, pulling out last minute against Makhachev. Dana doesn't want to give him the shot, and it looks like the UFC, they're going to give Justin Gaethje a title shot, which is easy work for for Ilia, which might mean they may do Arman Tsarukyan versus Paddy Pimblett as a title eliminator. But if Arman Tsarukyan can win his next fight, and if Ilia Topuria sacks up and stops ducking, because Ilia said he'd vacate if he had to fight Arman. If he sacks the hell up and says, you know what, I will fight this guy. If Arman can prove himself that he can show up to a fight, maybe that will entice Ilia enough. But if this fight happens some way, somehow, do not be surprised if Arman Tsarukyan takes the belt from Ilia Topuria. Now, number one, this one's quite obvious. Islam Makhachev. And I think Islam Makhachev is the guy that beats Ilia. This isn't he has a chance, but I think that Topuria would beat him, but here's how Islam could win. No. Straight up, I think Islam does beat Ilia. I've been saying for a long time that Makhachev would beat Ilia Topuria in a fight. This was, back when Ilia first won the featherweight belt, before he even defended it against Max. I was saying if he were to move up and fight Islam, I think Islam would go out there. I think he would out-wrestle him and eventually submit him. But the more I've seen Ilia fight and seeing what he did against Charles, I do feel a little less confident in Islam, and I would definitely be nervous for my pick if these two did fight. But Islam Makhachev he has the tools, okay? He's the perfect, complete package to beat Ilia Topuria. He's got the fight IQ, okay? His striking defense is very good. Despite being a grappler wrestler first, he's no joke in the stand-up, okay? Decent boxing, very good kicking game, very good footwork, good at rolling with the punches, and very good counter punching as well. So he could potentially catch Ilia Topuria overcommitting. If Ilia Topuria gets overconfident, rushes forward, Makhachev could catch him on the feet. Islam Makhachev has good knees as well from the clinch, or even if he doesn't grab you in the clinch, he can time a knee as Ilia rushes forward. And then, of course, the wrestling of Islam Makhachev. Now, Ilia Topuria has good wrestling of his own, and his jiu-jitsu is very good. Topuria is no slouch on the ground, but I do think Islam Makhachev is better. And to top all the skills that Makhachev has, he has a massive size advantage. He's bigger than Ilia, and he's stronger than Ilia. And I do think that he could frustrate Ilia on the feet, hold his own on the feet, and I do think he could eventually get him down. And then once he gets Topuria down, I think it's all Islam Makhachev. I think Islam could get the back of Ilia Topuria, control him in that body triangle, could win a round off of just control from the back. But he could even find a submission, a rear naked choke, or if he can't get a rear naked choke from that position, Islam is very good at chaining submissions. He can go from failing an RNC to then transitioning to an armbar, to then failing the armbar to transitioning to a triangle choke. But Makhachev also has dangerous Darce chokes as well. And he could catch Ilia Topuria trying to shrimp on the ground, trying to find his way back to his feet. If Ilia Topuria, if he tucks forward into Islam's legs as he's trying to get up and Islam is in the sprawling position, Islam will Darce choke this guy. Now, Ilia Topuria could win. I do think he could knock out Islam Makhachev, but Islam, he's one of those guys who has that aura of invincibility, I believe more so than Topuria, and I have to see Islam lose to believe it before I can actually pick against him. So Islam, out of everyone on this list, I believe has the greatest chance to beat Ilia, and he is a threat to Ilia everywhere. A threat on the feet, could hurt Ilia, could time a high kick or a knee or a punch. But then on the ground, he is an even bigger threat, very suffocating on the ground. And that's where he has his highest chance of finishing Ilia. If not, he could also beat him by decision. But that is it for my Who Can Beat Ilia Topuria video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you guys agree with this list? Is there anyone you would remove or replace? Who do you guys think could beat Ilia Topuria? Like, subscribe, share, and thank you for watching.